This is The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Roadmap, exclusively here on ASBN.com. I'm Lee Heisman, and every week we bring you some of the brightest entrepreneurs, CEOs, and business owners who are climbing the ladder, scaling their businesses, and thinking about one day how to exit stage left. Today I have a very special guest who's been a champion of mine and a confidant of mine for more than 25 years. Goodness gracious, Kevin Adamson. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
It seems like dog years. Maybe it's 15 years, but it seems like 25 years. I'll take it. But we've known each other a long time.
Forever.
And I'll tell you, if you're a business owner out there and an entrepreneur growing your business, scaling it, and possibly one day selling it, if you haven't been sued, then you aren't really a business owner. If you haven't had to use legal, then you really aren't a business owner. And Kevin has been the legal for both myself and my business partner here, Ted Jenkins, for more than a decade, more than 15 years probably. And you've provided so much guidance to so many entrepreneurs over the years. It's time now for us to extract that information out of your head.
Let's do it.
So, talking about your practice, Kevin, you've grown this practice. You've been in town, obviously, with your business for more than a decade and a half, I think. And, the reality is you've really, really transitioned yourself from having your practice, being a sports agent as well. And that's right, listeners and viewers, a sports agent, as well as a personal injury attorney and a corporate attorney. Talk about all those things, the good parts about them, the bad parts.
Well, I didn't know, I didn't have a specified entry point into what I was going to do when I started my practice right out of law school and threw out my shingle and didn't know what I was doing. So I did a little bit of everything from criminal law to corporate law and I had an MBA, so I felt like I needed to do some corporate law to pay for make that MBA seem like it was worth it. And so I did corporate kind of on the side and a lot of criminal law, and then I got into some personal injury, mostly because I'm not a fan of insurance companies. And the corporate was always there, and I was always able to help people come up with game plans and ideas, mostly for how I did things wrong as a young business person. But and then I got really tired of trying criminal cases, so I stopped doing that, and it was mostly corporate and personal injury. And then one day, one of my friends from graduate school said, "Hey, would you take a look at this contract that the Yankees just sent my nephew?" And I was like, "That's a great idea. I played college baseball. I always wanted to be in baseball. Let's start a sports agency." So I did that for 15 years, and there's a lot of ups and downs and a lot of good choices and bad choices that you make, but you got to know when to reverse the bad choices.
Well, we're going to get to that today, and that's intriguing because if you go into your law firm, which is the most unique law firm that I've ever been in, across the country, I walk into the front door and it's a basic law firm. I walk past your office and suddenly I'm in a locker room, and then I open another door and there's a 53-yard, and you heard me right, 53-yard football field with AstroTurf back there, batting cages for baseball, football field, hyperbaric chambers in the weight room. You have a full combine facility in the back of your law firm. Can you elaborate on why you have this?
It started off being a marketing issue. That when I was getting into being a sports agent, there were a bunch of sports agents, but there were no real sports agents that owned facilities. The only one that I knew of was on the West Coast, and whose name everybody knows that I will not repeat. And he had his own sports facility. And I was like, I could do that on this coast, and it served multiple revenue streams. And so I built it out. I got lucky with a couple of connections through some Major League Baseball players that introduced me to some of their sports performance coaches. So I ended up with the best sports performance coaches in the country. And we've been in that facility for 14 years. the lease is finally coming due, and we're not going to renew it. So,
well, and I want to get into that and why you're not going to renew it, because it sounds very sexy. Every time I walk in, I'm always just so blown away seeing all the athletes there, seeing a lot of professional sports athletes. I come to your office to visit, and I'm running into professional athletes that I've seen all over the country: football, professional NFL players, professional Major League Baseball players. Even, I'm sitting in your lobby and I'm talking to Brian Jordan from the Braves, right? Because he just happens to be hanging out doing some business with you. So it's very appealing for you to have built this, and I always loved it. But then I noticed you started spreading yourself too thin at one point as a business owner, and you started bringing on partners. Is that correct? Was that your first way to possibly plug the gaps?
Sort of. The idea was we were going to grow. The law firm was always kind of the revenue generator, and we were going to grow the sports agency. And we had built out this facility, and we started having clients that were advancing in the different levels up to the major leagues, and that required a lot of travel. And so, in season, I was gone everywhere. So I needed somebody to sort of, man the office, the law firm side of it. And so I entered into a partnership to sort of, make that happen. And I was growing the sports agency, and everything got really big and really busy really quickly.
And I remember you would be traveling weeks at a time, and you had this business. You brought your partner in to, of course, try to, as you said, hold the fort down. You're growing this sports agency, traveling all over the country to see different athletes that you're going to be signing to be their agent. And it takes a long time for that to happen. And there was a moment where you and I joke, and a lot of entrepreneurs know this comment, but the thing you can count on, the only ships that sink are partnerships. And as you were starting to spread yourself too thin, what ultimately happened?
Kind of like, you hear people that go through a divorce and they're like, we just grew apart. Well, if you don't work on the relationship as well as the business, it does kind of grow apart, and it just got to a point where, we needed to go our separate ways. And we did that, and I realized at some point in time, probably 3 years ago, that I needed to concentrate on an aspect of business in order to, be the most lucrative business person I could be in that particular business. And as much fun as being a sports agent was for 15 years, and having the facility and having all these guys show up, and you're like a kid in a candy store. It's like going to an autograph signing every day you get up and go to the office. It was wonderful, but it was not the best use of my time to do the best thing I could do as a business person.
So, this is a great education. And for our listeners out there, and it's really important, you've heard the term, I'm a jack of all trades and I'm a master of none. And that does not monetize very, very well. It's intriguing. And as Kevin said, it's very fun to have all this diversity in your life, but you're not going to monetize. And that's kind of what it sounds like you realized. And what's amazing is a lot of people will run their business, and unfortunately, their business may fail during that time, and when they realize it's too late. But that did not happen with you. There was an inflection point where you said, I need to make changes. I need to break away. I need to shut down the sports agency and focus on the most lucrative specialty that I can. Is that accurate?
Pretty much. And I look back in the books and the memories and the fun and the bad times of both the agency and the law practice, and something needed to go so that I could actually monetize the entity with the biggest potential.
A biggest thing for you though, Kevin, is I've been your friend for a long, long time, and I definitely enjoy your company. But I know you've always had, employees are the biggest the biggest benefit to a business and sometimes the biggest pain in the rear end to the business.
That is.
And I know over the years I've seen some turnover at your firms that you work with because of all this, as we would say, diversity and or chaos that you put yourself through. But recently, over the past year, you've been attracting some major talent, and that talent has been sticking around for this growth. Can you tell me what can you lean into that about?
So somewhere along the way, somebody told me that you always have two choices. You can hire the best, or you can hire the best available. And the best available may be crap, but they're the best available. Well, if they're crap, but they're the best available, they're not going to be a long-term solution. So if you can stomach it and do the extra work until you can find the best, you will keep those people. They'll be more loyal. They'll be better employees. And so I stopped just trying to chase employees for the sake of, I need somebody in this seat to do this. I need somebody in this seat to do this, but I'm not settling for crap.
You know, I've known you a long time, and this is the first time I've heard you say this. This is really enlightening for myself because you didn't before. You're exactly right. You would just grab who's available because you're so busy and you didn't have time to wait. But now you've decided to wait.
And the way, and you know, that makes for some extra gray hair sometimes when you really have a hard time waiting because you need that person now. But again, if they're not the best, they're not going to be around long enough to show you anything but they were crap when you hired them and they're crap when you let them go.
Yeah, but the reality is pretty simple. It sounds like you are subscribing to what you're saying because you definitely have a lot of gray hair. So it's absolutely, I agree with you. Now, I just got mine colored the other day.
Look, you gave me some of these.
Fair, completely understand. So for our viewers out there, through this journey, and this is kind of your roadmap, but through this journey, and I'm watching you come out the other side in a very specified, I'd say, sniper type fashion. It used to be shotgun for you, splattering all over, and now it's very snipered. Give me the one thing that was the most painful that you learned through this process that's kind of helped you get. I know that one about the employees is huge, about waiting, but give me another one.
So, as I mentioned right at the beginning, when I came out of law school, I passed the bar. I threw out my shingle knowing that I didn't know what I was doing and I needed to have great mentors. Well, luckily, I got really good mentors and I didn't make as many mistakes because I had great mentors along the way, but I messed up a bunch. And one of the painful things that I still deal with 3 years into the practice of law is I came out, I had a whole bunch of law school debt and 0 clients. So I would take just about anything as a case and figure out a way to make it work or try to figure out a way to make it work. And to this day, I still am concerned with, do I have enough clients? Do I have too many clients? One of the most difficult decisions is how do I really need to take this case, or am I screwing something else up by taking this case here and not thinking about what's over here that I'm messing up down the road. So that's a constant thorn that, you know, and if you do it enough, there's a crown of thorns that you're wearing. But you just, that's going to always be front and center. And is it the kind of case that I absolutely can handle? Or even 23 years into the practice, I just took a case that I know is a great case, but I know I have absolutely no idea how to handle at least one aspect of the case. So swallowed the old ego and went to talk to somebody that I know that is an expert in that aspect of the case. And we're going to do well in that case. But sometimes, you know, I've learned in the law, there are a lot of egos that are out there. And sometimes you have to swallow your ego in order to do what's right for the client, because the biggest concern is what's right for the client. secondary concern is let's make some money and have a good time
and what's right for your practice.
Build a reputation. What's right for your practice. So you can't take everything all day long. And I do at this point in my career, instead of taking everything because gosh, I'm scared I'm not gonna have any money next week. Sometimes I will take stuff now, very very rarely, and I have a round table with everybody in my office as to whether or not it's a good idea for me or it just sounds like a good idea at the time and everybody else is like, let's not do that.
Fair. So you have your mentors that you provide or they provide you input. And for our viewers out there, and it's really, really important, you're exactly right, Kevin. When you say yes to something, you're ultimately saying no to something else. And when you start to know your swim lane and what your niche is and where you can make your money, it's almost easier and harder sometimes. It's harder to say no, but it's best for your business because you can focus your energy and efforts in another direction. So, Kevin, I can't, those are great words of wisdom. It absolutely made me think about that last comment. How do people get in touch with you? Just number one, for your wisdom, for even maybe a mentorship, because you've had great mentors, or if they even had an injury for personal injury or corporate law, how would they get in touch with you?
You can call the office, you can send me an email, or you can look at our website. The office number is 404-581-9100. My website is www.kaapc.com, and my email address is kevin@kaapc.com.
Well, Kevin, great to see you again.
Absolutely.
Great words
Thanks for having me.
I love how finite and structured your world is today versus the past decade that I've watched it all over the place. So it's a joy, absolutely, for me to hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for joining us today. I hope this show was insightful for you. I know it was for me. We hope to see you again next week for another episode of The Roadmap.
Thanks for watching The Roadmap with Lee Heisman.